What's going on, guys? Hans Struzyna with the Gunderman Group. Happy New Year. So glad you're here. So glad we made it. I can't believe it's 2021. And in honor of that, I wanted to kick this year off with a video about the top 5 noob mistakes I see buyers and sellers making when it comes to buying real estate, and some really easy fixes for those mistakes, and I'm going to show them to you through the lens of my own house. Yes, as you saw in a previous video, which I'll link to up here, we bought a house. Crazy, I can't believe it, but there are some really easy fixes that we made to this house to make it our style and make it exactly what we wanted, and I'm going to show you exactly what those are so you can make that for yourself. If you get value out of this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to continue to put out content like this all year long and you're not going to want to miss it. So let's get in there and let's get after it. All right, so kicking this thing off, we all know that first impressions are everything. And with that said, the way the house presents and the way it feels when you first walk in makes a huge difference for how much enjoyment you're gonna have. So the first mistake that most home buyers make without thinking about it is not painting, or at least not realizing that you can paint. Everything behind me, this entire room, actually the entire house, we repainted before we moved in, and I can tell you it made a huge world of difference. I'll cut here quickly to a couple of shots of this space before and then after once we painted. So for those of you who are interested, we actually used Simply White by Benjamin Moore, as well as on the wall and the base of the wall, and then Chantilly lace for all of the trim. Really nice, warm whites, really good accent, and it really modernized the space and made it really awesome. So I'll link to those down in the description, by the way. All right, so the second mistake I see people making all the time is not putting in lighting, especially recessed lighting. Even in an older home, it can really kind of modernize the space and obviously fill it with a ton of light. So anything that feels small will automatically feel bigger. Anything that's old will get a touch of modern. It's really amazing how just a couple of LED cans can make all of the difference. And in fact, it's probably next to painting, and this is something you probably want to do at the same time just for the touch-up work, is probably the least expensive thing with the biggest transformative power that you're ever going to spend money on. For about 150 bucks installed, you can get an LED can put in the ceiling. So 4 of them in a smaller bedroom, 6 in a bigger bedroom, obviously a lot more in a larger space, but for a couple hundred or $1,000 bucks, it will absolutely transform in a big way. Speaking of lighting, if you've got some old ugly light fixtures and you want to swap them out for more of a statement piece, it's really very simple and actually pretty inexpensive to throw something like this in, a nice big drum shade. This is a CB2 20-inch drum shade. I've also got 13-inch drum shades in pretty much every other room of the house. I'll link to both of those down in the description so you can check those out. But for 50 to 100 bucks on Amazon or CB2 or any of those other Wayfairs, anything like that, you can get a really nice statement piece that'll really transform the room, and it's really easy to install and actually not that expensive. All right, so mistake number 3 that everybody makes is not sanding and staining their floors. Most people just move right in and take them as is, and I admit this is one that you're probably going to want to do before you actually move in, but when you take the time, you have them sand and stain, you don't walk on them for a couple of days, it looks amazing. Plus it really customizes the space for you, and it takes all the scratches out and kind of the previous owner's wear and tear and makes it feel almost brand new for you and fresh. Plus it just transforms the look of a space. If you have dark, you go to light. If you light, you go to dark. Whatever it is, it will make it your own in a big way. So Make sure that you do this probably before you actually move in, but you can do it room by room if you have to, but definitely invest in new floors. It's not that expensive and it makes a huge difference. Mistake number 4 that everybody makes is actually not living in their space quite long enough before they make huge renovations to places like the kitchen or the bathroom. I can tell you that when you actually live in the space, unless you know for sure because you have a really small kitchen or you only have a half bath where you need a full, it's going to pay dividends. Originally, we actually bought this house, the previous owners did this kitchen, and we thought that for our lifestyle, our cooking, we were gonna need to turn this, for example, into an island and then extend the kitchen along that wall. Now that we've been here for a couple of weeks, we've realized actually we would hate that because of the tightness and the flow of all of this. And so what we're probably going to do is keep the configuration and just start to change the aesthetics a little bit to match more of our style, and then put a bigger dining space on that side of the kitchen. So if you just jump right into a kitchen renovation or a bathroom renovation, it can cost you an awful lot of money and not actually bring you a lot of joy and enjoyment of the house, and frankly value if you then go to sell it. So make sure you live in the space unless you absolutely cannot, at least for a couple weeks, if not a month or two, before you make any massive renovations. Hey Nala, hey girly. So the 5th and final thing that I see people making mistakes on all the time actually isn't the physical space, it's the furniture you put in there. A lot of people just kind of take what they have from their old place, throw it on the walls, throw it in the space, and call it good. And I get it, there's an element of that practicality that just life gets in the way. Admittedly, we are having a really hard time furnishing this house. It's a lot more space than we've ever had. That being said, when you nail it and you get the proportions and the color palette and all in the functionality perfect, like this couch I'm sitting on right now, it's awesome. We have an 11-foot space here, just over 7-foot couch. On this side, we have a coffee table and a lamp over there. They look really nice together and they scale to the room really well. Plus I've got these accordion doors over here. We got the chaise facing that way so that when we open these in the summer, we'll be able to kind of indoor-outdoor flow on this space really easily. And it just works really, really well, and it makes the room sing in a way that it didn't before, frankly. So by contrast, I'm gonna turn this camera around real quick, and you can see we've got this beautiful bar cart, which we got on our registry, and I love this thing from Crate & Barrel. However, it just doesn't fit on this wall super well. It's way too small. There's too much wall, even with the plant and stuff next to it. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's functional there, it works. When we have drinks out on our deck, we make drinks right there, but it just doesn't look super good, or at least as good as it could. So it's probably gonna end up in a different area at some point, but that's what I'm saying is, like, think about your space, and trust me when I say this is not easy to do, and it'll probably cause a few disputes between you and your significant other, but it's something to work through and part of your process of your new home. So just think about that in the space, the color palette you bring in, how you match it to your paint, how you match it to the floors, the light fixtures, all those things. Not terribly expensive, fairly easy to do. You can knock them all out in a couple weeks if you do a little bit of planning and scheduling, but it'll make the world of difference whether you're buying or selling. So thanks for joining me on the walkthrough. Hopefully you got some value out of that, and it gets you thinking about how to tee yourself up for success in 2021. If you got some value, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to continue to put out weekly content just like this. And if you see something or you know of a trick, tip, or hack that I didn't put in here, put it down in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say. So without any further ado, this is Hans Struzyna with the Gunderman Group at Keller Luxury International, signing off for now. See you guys on the next one.